I remember I walked up into St James's and my hands, everything, my whole body just lit up. I've got goosebumps all over my skin.
I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my worry about those times. I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. 713 through the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? I'm flying. Sipping low key. I'm sipping low key and honest. Rider. I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those times. I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the Heimlich, throw that.
Get in there. Get in. Wakey, rise and shine. It's loaded time. And at our new time for today, for the very least. But great to see people in the chat. People are streaming into the chat, getting up on the bed. But let's go around the house, see how everybody is. Pete, how are you?
Very, very good. Very good, boys. Yeah, busy weekend. My niece's birthday party. So out and about with the family. But not before we saw a fantastic win at Turf Moor. So yeah, nice to see the family after that and chill out and stuff. And late kind of bedtime, getting back in and getting the kids sorted. But all worth it. And yeah, nice early start with the boys. What could be better?
What could be better is right. And Chris, how are you getting on?
All right, mate. Yeah, and it feels like the weekend hasn't really started yet either, because obviously we're off today and off tomorrow. So yeah, no, it's been a nice weekend so far. Busy day yesterday. Not anything exciting, and probably not near as exciting as what you boys were up to, but busy day all the same. Rushing around here and there, and then my mate's coming around today with his daughter for a little play day, and I've been promised some Guinness and Carlin, so can't complain. So I'll watch a little bit of football this afternoon while the girls are playing. But yeah, looking forward to the rest of the weekends, and obviously it's always a good weekend, isn't it, when Newcastle win, particularly when they perform like they did yesterday. So in good spirits. What about you, Doz?
Yeah, I'll go with me, Chris. I was saying whisper there because you don't wake anyone in your house. But yeah, no, got all the jobs done already in this bank holiday weekend. But for us, we're doing something different. We're going to the Connacht final. It's Galway versus Mayo today in Pearse Stadium in Galway. So looking forward to that, bringing Luca to his first GAA game. 26,000 capacity, just a nice build up to 52 in the future, you know. Yeah. We're going there. But yeah, no, he likes the Gaelic football. He's only 6. He's playing under 9 football now. Actually, he's a match in under 9, so he's doing well. He's doing okay with it. Brilliant. So yeah, we'll get him to a game and get him a taste for it. But looking forward to talking about this game, our game from yesterday. So why not get into it? And that's what everyone's here to talk about, isn't it? Housekeeping, make sure you smash that like button. We'd like a few likes. And if you're new and you want to join the chat, just hit the subscribe button, and that will enable the chat and you'll be able to chat away with everybody else. Right, here we go. Right, this was the team news for Newcastle against Burnley. Some changes because Mr. Pope was back on the bench. We also saw this man, or these two men, in J7 and Miggy as well, back on the bench. And Anderson and Barnes were benched as well. But I suppose they needed to kind of change it up a bit with with no Shar. So they kind of use the option to kind of maybe go long to Wilson to hold it up and then bring out others into play. So that's probably part of the thinking. Then there was the talk of, is it 4-4-2? Is it 4-2-3-1? What is it? What's happening? And the numbers, why don't they bring the numbers back to the way it was? It's all in numerical order now. It's all kicking off right before the F4 kickoff. But Pete, your thoughts on the team news?
Yeah, buzzing, absolutely buzzing. To see Big Joe back in the team. It was obviously rumoured that he was back in training, so you always kind of had a thought, is he going to make it? We knew that Miggy was going to make it because they'd already captured him in training. But it's great to see Pope in as well. And it just, for the first time, felt that we were getting our squad back together. The boys were getting back together. And I'm not going to lie, boys, when I saw J7 turn up at Turf Moor, I just had a feeling. I thought we're winning today. We are winning today. Like, I don't know why. Just that confidence just came through me. I was like, yeah, there's no way we're not getting out of Turf Moor with 3 points without him.
And on top of that, actually, before I go to you, Chris, and your thoughts for the team, Burn, 100 games for Newcastle as well. He's 100 game first. But your thoughts on the Newcastle lineup?
Yeah, I mean, similar to Pete, my main focus was on the bench this week, and it was so good seeing those players back. And do you know what? Just to touch on what Pete's just said about Joe Linton, doesn't it show how much of a big player he is for us now? Because I felt exactly the same way, and then even better when Joe Linton came on the pitch. It was just like the king had come home. Like, he come on the pitch, he sauntered on, the crowds are going mental, you can hear them all singing for him, and he comes on. And even just the simpler touches that he was doing. And it's just like, yeah, our midfield's back now. It's back. And this is without Sandro Tonali as well, by the way, boys. So, yeah, absolutely brilliant to have Joe Linton back. And, you know, obviously having Nick Pope back will be a big plus. I don't actually, do you know what? This week I haven't got anything to moan about Martin Dubravka. So that's a positive. But, yeah, it'll be huge having Nick Pope back. And obviously, we talk a lot, don't we, boys, about squad depth. And I think, you know, having the likes of Miggy Almiron on the bench, it's only going to be a good thing, isn't it? But yeah, in terms of the starting 11, it was obviously great to see that Tino was okay, and having Hall at left back as well. The more and more, I will touch on Hall later, but the more and more that we see the likes of Hall and Tino Livramento in the starting 11, I think it's a good thing, because the more minutes they get under the belt, the more confident they get. I think it's really, really positive for Newcastle. But yeah, everywhere else, equally, I was particularly excited to see Isak and Wilson starting. And I heard the stat, which again, you know, we're in game 36 of the season. I think it was game 35 of the season, wasn't it? But I can't believe that it was the first time that that Wilson and Isak had started together. And I'm thinking, we're on bloody game 35 of the season, and we haven't seen our two main strikers starting together. So that was another positive for me. But yeah, I was like Pete, I was ultra confident when I saw that lineup.
Nice one. I'll find something for you to go about Dubravka. Don't you worry. Here, this was the Burnley side as well, and let's get into it. And I'll start, Chris, with that, because as we kicked off, it was kind of evident as well. Dubravka not coming to collect the ball on one occasion at least to give Burnley an early sniff. But then Burn again, providing those last ditch tackles, absolutely class as always. And he's just excelled in the centre back role. I don't think he should ever go back to left back now. It should be one of our centre backs. Fixed well, you know, in the mix for our position anyway. After 7 minutes, a penalty claim from Burnley, a slight push by Bruno, a bit of a dive as well, because VAR said nope. 80 minutes, Wilson got a yellow card for diving, even though he got up again. That
was absolutely ridiculous, that decision, by the way. It was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you know, I don't think he dived, but two, even if the referee thought that he dived, he jumped straight back up. So you're not allowed to fall over on the pitch anymore. It's like, it's just ridiculous. He literally falls to the floor, which again, like I say, I don't actually think it was a dive. There probably was some contact there, but he jumped straight back up. And the referee's like, yeah, you're trying to pull the ball over me, yellow card. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. What did you boys think of that, by the way?
I thought it was stupid as well.
Absolutely ridiculous. To be fair, there was a comment in the chat with regards to the referee. I'll just find it just a sec. Might be further down. I'll find it in a second. We'll come back. We'll kind of go back to that. Actually, George Superlife says it. Even though we won 4-1, Anthony Taylor put in the worst referee performance I've seen in a Newcastle game. How can he represent England and European championships is beyond me. And I agree. And that was just one of many decisions that he made on the pitch over that 95, 96 minutes or so. Shocking. And the problem with that is that for me makes me feel that Anthony Taylor was looking for it. He was looking to book it. Like, you should not be a referee and be looking to book or give anyone any type of decision like that. You should be trying to keep your cards in your pocket and let the game flow. If you'd have done that and just seen, as a referee should be doing, is looking and seeing how that plays out. If Wilson's on the floor and he's going mad and he's got arms out looking for a penalty, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Got down, like you said, Chris. He got straight back up and actually tried to keep the ball in play and keep the ball going. For me, it's not. It's nowhere near a yellow card. But it tells you more about the referee than it does about Callum Wilson.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it was like he was kind of trying to set a marker at that stage. Okay, there's a bit of this going on already, especially the Burnley one before, and he said, "Right, I better try and snuff this out now." But it wasn't the best one to do that on. There was more clear and obvious after that. Anyway, 1 minute later, Wilson got his goal because Murphy cross, Isak attempted shot was saved, and Wilson with the follow up. He's there to follow up. Q Wilson celebration, and also Q Wilson becoming our second top goal scorer ever. Not far to go off Shearer now, as he would say himself. But thoughts on our first goal, lads? Chris, we'll go to you first.
I thought it was another example for me of how important Jacob Murphy is on that right wing and how we need an upgrade in that right wing position in the summer, because Sean Longstaff, I think it was Sean Longstaff, picks up the ball, sprays it out wide, and you just know, even watching it, and I'm sure Alexander Isak and Callum Wilson knew as well. Jacob Murphy, he can put the ball. He's got a good cross on him, and he puts the ball into a dangerous area. And Alexander Isak, a lovely depth touch, by the way. Just doesn't swing at it, doesn't lash at it. He just puts enough on it to get the ball on target. Muric makes a decent save, and then Callum Wilson's there just to gobble it up. I thought it was a really well worked goal, and it kind of summed up the way Newcastle played yesterday. We were on the front foot. It wasn't the most technical of goals, but it was just that quick, fast movement play. And, you're taught as a youngster, to kind of play the percentages. If you put the ball in a dangerous area and you've got, talented strikers up front, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be working the goalkeeper. And that's exactly what we did. We worked him twice. And unfortunately, the second time he couldn't stop Callum Wilson from close range. But as I say, I thought he made a good save for Isak's, glancing shot, if you can call it that. And Isak did nothing wrong, by the way. He did exactly what he needed to, but it was just a really good save. And then Callum Wilson's there, as I say, just to gobble it up. But really, really good goal and well-worked goal.
Pete, your thoughts on Wilson?
Brilliant goal. Really, really good goal. Tino Livramento starts it off, driving run right into the middle of the pitch. And it kind of really gives the emphasis about the team's performance there. Obviously, gets played out to Murphy. Chris touched on Murphy, and it's exactly why he was in the team, for that directness, the ability to whip that ball in. So one thing that we've said about him all season, lads, when we've done these reaction shows, we've always said, Murphy's in there for his delivery. We talked about it when we beat Wolves at St. James's Park when we won 3-0. That ball in. That creates the goal for, I believe it's Gordon, that scores it in the end, a little tapping, but it's the ball in that causes the destruction. And it's the same again. But I love Isak's movement. I mean, I'll come on to Isak sort of later on in kind of like the tactics. Cause I think we were all talking about like how's it setting up, how is it looking, and I've got kind of an opinion on that. But his movement was so good that they just couldn't pick him up. And like you said, good save from the keeper. But this is why Callum Wilson starts. Callum Wilson is like that. He can do the other stuff, but he's an absolute fox in the box. Where you want him to turn up, anywhere in and around that 6-yard box, if the ball's loose, he's going to be there to put the ball in the net. And a great finish. And look, you touched on it, Daz. Callum Wilson, second highest Premier League goal scorer in the club's history. I tweeted out yesterday. I said he's an absolute bagsman, and he is, because for the time that he's been here, and yes, for the injuries and various other things that he's had, to still score that many goals. We've had a lot of strikers come and go since Alan Shearer.
Yeah,
that haven't been able to do the same, and some of which that have been here at the club probably longer or around the same time. And it just goes to show what he's done in very difficult moments. The last couple, 2-3 years, been better, but yeah, fair play to Callum Wilson. And look, I think we're going to be having a conversation in the summer. I do. I think there's going to be a conversation if he continues this goal scoring feat, is that will Callum Wilson leave the club? Because as far as Eddie Howe's concerned, he's staying. He wants him to stay. So I don't know. But look, fantastic goal. So I hated on Sky Sports Newsboys. The woman, I can't remember her name. To be fair, she's reported on the last couple of games. She's really good. To be fair, but she referred to it as like, oh, it was just a tap in. Like it wasn't. Like it's the movement, it's everything, the build up around the goal, and he's had to put it through his legs to score. Like that's not easy in itself anyway. I just think sometimes people take credit away from people when they're putting the ball in the net. It's the hardest job to do. It's the hardest job. Score a goal.
That's why they get paid the most money, isn't it?
Exactly.
I was getting worried there, Pete. I thought you were going to go full Joey Barton on us, but no. I know.
She's really good. I actually like when she covered. I can't remember her name. I feel like really bad that I don't remember her name, but she covered the Sheffield United game on Sky Sports. She was brilliant last week, and she was brilliant again today. But I just didn't like taking credit away from Callum Wilson. It would have been anybody if it was Paul Merson. Anybody they shouldn't take credit away from players when they've scored good goals.
Oh, Alan Thompson's. I was going to ask you if it was her. I must admit I didn't see. I didn't see. Sue Smith. Yeah. She is one of the better female.
I like Sue Smith. Yeah, she's very good. Right. Let me see. Moving on. As you touched on the ref earlier, the ref was not given much, especially those little pullbacks. And Pete, you said it in our chat. Even Joe Linton, he would have been well suited to that kind of game from the start. But moving on, Longstaff's goal comes next because a ball from Hall to Wilson, who held the ball up well, onto Murphy and to Sean Longstaff to make it 2-0 to Newcastle, and cue the celebration from Sean Longstaff. But Pete, we'll go to you first for Longstaff's goal. In our second.
Yeah, brilliant goal. Have to say, some superb work by Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson keeps that ball alive when it could have quite easily gone out for a goal kick and the move breaks down. Superb bit of work from there. And actually, I was kind of you're looking at it real time, and Jacob Murphy again was great. It worked perfectly in the end. It was brilliant, but he kind of takes that touch to the byline, whereas Longstaff's already there on the edge of the box. And he's like, "Give me the ball, give me the ball." And he takes the touch away from him, and you kind of think the move's gone, and then he just manages to reverse pass it back to him, and then look, how many times do we see Sean Longstaff in this position? Like he arrives, his arrival in that kind of just off center to the right, always arrives in the box. It's kind of like it's a Lampard-esque type run, is what I always kind of refer to it as. just that arrival in the box. So Lampard was more central when he played, but it's that Lampard-esque arrival into the box. It was kind of drifts in unmarked, smash straight into the far corner. He is really good at arriving in those moments, and we do this really well on Loaded Mag NUFC. Like we can be critical of players at times when they deserve to be, when they're not playing well, but we can also be we can give them praise when they deserve it too. And I have to say, even before the goal, I actually thought Longstaff was playing really well. I thought he had a really good game. And he deserves that. He needs that. He needed that yesterday. And I'm so glad that he put that ball in the net. Whatever we think about Sean Longstaff, when those boys put that shirt on and they go onto the pitch, we back them just as much as anybody else. And a really brilliant goal. And I think I said to you boys, I said, if we at 1-0, if we get another, that's all right. And in my mind, I'm thinking, that the game's done. Burnley don't. Adam said, didn't he, Chris, on the away day show? He said Burnley don't score many goals. So if we put the second goal away, we're more likely going to win it. So for me, I was just like, that's it. Like that's us. That's the points on the board, for sure.
Cool. Chris, your thoughts on Sean Longstaff's goal?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna wax lyrical about Lewis Hall for this because I thought it was a fantastic crossfield ball, and also obviously but we'll touch a bit more on Lewis Hall's performance later, I'm sure. But yeah, no, I completely agree with Pete. Funnily enough, this goal reminded me of the Isak goal not so long ago. You know, when Gordon had to do a lot of work before in order to play the ball through to Isak. I forget who it was against. Can't think who it was against, but Gordon, did some fantastic work, to like kind of win the ball back. I think it was Tottenham. Yeah, it was against Destiny Udogie. And Gordon's fighting for the ball, and then he gives the ball to Isak, and then obviously Isak does what he does best. But yeah, Callum Wilson, like when you actually watch it back, it's ridiculous how strong he is. Like upper body. Bearing in mind he's been out with a pectoral injury as well. He does really, really well, and the Burnley player is kind of tussling and bustling with him. And like Pete says, when he went the byline, you're thinking, no, not that way, go the other way. And then when he comes back, Sean Longstaff arriving in that area, as Pete said, arrives in that area, which I just wish he did more often. But yeah, it was a cool, calm finish. And at 2-0, you're thinking, yeah, this is looking decent now. Because I kind of felt, I know you said in the chat, didn't you, Pete, like, another one and it's game over, but I kind of felt, especially because of what it was Adam, wasn't it, on the Burnley show. He said Burnley don't score a lot of goals. So at 2-0, I was thinking, yeah, I think we're good for the 3 points here.
Yeah, definitely. I was just gonna add to, because you touched on Lewis Hall. I actually really loved about that. The celebration is that Longstaff went straight to Murphy, and obviously he was the one that got the assist. But then you can see him mouth, like he just says, "What a ball!" and he's aiming towards Lewis Hall, because it was. I didn't touch on it, but you did, Chris. It was a superb crossfield ball. It really was.
Right, we've got 135 in the chat. It keeps increasing every couple of seconds, but great to have you with us. Make sure you smash that like button as well as soon as you join, so you don't forget it on the way out. But we are up to the Sean Longstaff goal, and we'll move forward because 39 minutes after 39 minutes, there was a penalty shout for shove on Wilson. VAR said no. We'll move on from that. 30, because on the same 39 minute. We have a Bruno goal. Gordon cuts the ball back to Bruno, and he just passes it into the net to make it 3-0 Newcastle. Usually Bruno has a few celebrations up his sleeve, so here's one of them at least. But Chris, we'll go to you for Bruno's goal.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, boys, and maybe it's a bit selfish of me, but every time I see Bruno hit the ball in the back of the net, it just feels more special. I don't know why. I just love it when Bruno scores. I think maybe it's because he kind of deserves it because he works so hard throughout the game, and we spoke about it loads of times on this channel that like Bruno maybe doesn't get sometimes the credit he deserves. He does from the fan base, don't get me wrong, but in terms of like the pundits and the media, they don't know how good he is and what he does for this team. So when Bruno gets on the score sheet, it's kind of like, yeah, he deserved that, really deserved that. So I think Sean Longstaff does a fantastic job on the left-hand side, wins the ball back, pressing, gets the ball back, wins the possession, gives it to Gordon, and Gordon does what he's done so well this season, drives at the centre-back, forces him to make a decision. Only this time, rather than go down the left, he cuts in on his right, which we know he is probably his favourable thing to do. But what I loved about it is he shows his calmness, keeps his head under pressure, slots it just to the middle where Bruno's advancing, and Bruno comes into it. And Bruno, again, some people have questioned his finishing, me included. Well, sorry, no, tell a lie. No, I'll correct that. I don't question his finishing. I question the way he strikes the ball. But he actually, he really calm and composed, and he really slots it well, because a lot of players would have just put the foot through that and just whacked it as hard as they could. Whereas you could see he was kind of looking at it and going, right, where should I put this? And he puts it to the keeper's right, I believe, where you would think he'd put it to the keeper's left. So it was a really, really clever finish. And I think he wrong-footed Muric, actually. But really, really well-worked goal. Bruno does his standard 463 different celebrations. Life's good at this point. We don't care. No.
Pete, your thoughts on Bruno's goal?
Yeah. Hopefully more celebrations to come, that's for sure. I love it. But no, great goal. I think it was Burn that won the ball back high up, which is crazy because like it is sort of like a left back or a centre position. It just shows how high we were pressing Burnley in the game, that Burn wins the ball back really high up and plays it to Gordon. And what I love about it, the reason why Bruno has the pick of the goal to shoot him is the fear that Burnley had when Gordon had the ball in that position. He actually drags 4 players away from Bruno Guimarães. As soon as Gordon's got the ball and he's about to approach the area, they've got like 4 players like running. I think it's him and Isak, because Isak's making his run into the box. They're literally going to stop them, and they're literally going into the box to try and like cover all angles. And it just opens up to Bruno. So Gordon goes, there you go, Bruno. And I just think Bruno's the king of the side foot. He never hits anything with his laces. When he does, he doesn't really hit the target. He is the king of the side foot. And you're right, he does kind of wrong foot the goalkeeper, because Bruno likes to, a little bit like Forest away, he likes to kind of bend them into the far corner. Into that far corner, and because he's got the ability to do it, but he doesn't. He just puts it near post. I think he throws everybody. Everybody's kind of trying to block that far corner, and he just does everybody. Puts it in the bottom corner, nice and easy. And yeah, we are celebrating like mad at that point. Yeah, the points are coming home. I was done. I'm looking at the table. I'm going, right, who are the others got next, kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going on forward a bit, because there was further chances in that half, because Gordon had a chance and Murphy had a chance as well, but that took us to half time. And before I go into the second half, I think it's time for a little jingle from the Radiator Shed. So here's the Radiator Shed jingle. We're back again. Make sure contact the Radiator Shed for all your radiator needs, and for all bathroom wear, contact H2O Design Bathroom Co. Check them out. Check out the websites for the latest and greatest. But let's get back into that second half. So 47 minutes, Burnley had a chance because they danced their way through the Newcastle defence, but they put the ball over the bar. So nothing came of that. Then 50 minutes, Gordon brought down. He was pulled back, and then his heel was clipped as well. Definite penalty for you guys.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Iceman steps up, and I'm even recording a voice note at this stage to you guys because it's going in. Isak doesn't miss. Isak's pen is saved. Damn it! Keeper went the right way. Then VAR took a look at possible encroachment as well, but nothing came of that. But do you want to focus on the penalty first? Pete, do you want to say something about the penalty?
I've got a little bit to say because I had a bit of a running conversation with someone in the Geordies Down South chat, Segs, because one of the lads posed the really. To be fair, he put a question in the chat, and I didn't see it as a question because he said, if there's a penalty today, who takes it out of Wilson and Isak? And I was like, it's not even a question. Like, it's not. And Segs argued the point. He was like, obviously Wilson was a good penalty taker, which he was. He is. But for me, I was like, Isak's chasing the golden boot. He has to take the penalty. He has to. And we were kind of going back and forth about it. And we kind of agreed to disagree. And the lads in the chat will say, there's not even going to be a penalty anyway. And we're like, yeah, fair enough. And then the penalty drops. And everyone's just like, oh, my God. In my mind, I'm going, Isak, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do this, man. And then he misses. I was like, oh, my God. And we had a bit of a laugh and a joke about it afterwards. It was all good. And I think that's why Dowd put that in the chat as well. But yeah, I'm surprised. Normally, he hits the corners with the penalties, and it wasn't the best for whatever reason. I think Isak's movement and Isak's style is to kind of send the keeper the wrong way. He uses his body to kind of maneuver that, and it just didn't look right for whatever reason. But no, don't take anything away from the good save, but. Could it have been another penalty afterwards? I don't know.
Probably not. I think we're asking for a bit too much there for getting another one. But anything else you want to say on the penalty, Chris, or do you want to move forward?
Only quickly to touch on it. Yeah, I was watching Geordie Journos yesterday. I watched the match, the post match. Thoughts of the Geordie Journos. So if you haven't subscribed to Geordie Journos, make sure you do. Fantastic content. And yeah, Liam, Dom, and Jordan were talking after the game. Obviously, they were at the Burnley game, and they come up with a theory actually. And I didn't see this slight discussion, should we call it? But they highlighted it. I think it was Liam who highlighted it, and he was saying that apparently. Callum Wilson picked the ball up and was like, I want this. Now, whether it was because of this stream I was on watching the Burnley game, I don't know, but it just didn't pick up on this. And apparently Sean Longstaff went over to Callum Wilson and was like, no, give me the ball and give it to Isak. And Liam made a really good point. And he was like, I wonder whether, that discussion, should we call it, because apparently Callum Wilson wasn't happy, whether that discussion has any impact on Isak. In terms of it just ramped up the pressure a little bit on him because Isak's thinking, like you've just said, Pete, Isak's thinking, I'm going to have to put this away. If I want to stay as penalty taker, I'm going to have to put this away. And it didn't feel like an Alexander Isak penalty. We've all been praising him in recent weeks, haven't we? The way he just steps up, little pause, and just kind of slots it. And even if the keeper goes the right way, he's not getting there because he hits it so true, so well. And when I watched the replay of the goal, when I watched the replay of the penalty, I was just like, he doesn't normally do that. Like, it was actually quite a poor penalty. It wasn't in the corner. Muric went the right way, and it was a relatively easy save for him. And it just surprised me in terms of the foul. I mean, it does look shoulder to shoulder straight after it, but I think it's the force that he does it. and I think he actually catches him just behind his shoulder, so it's more on his back. I mean, I could see it being given, but equally, I wasn't surprised that it wasn't given. And then there was a massive VAR check after it, and I was thinking, what's taken so long? But apparently, they were checking whether or not there was an encroachment, or whether someone had gone into the box. So it was almost like they were like, right, how can we disallow this so Isak can have it again and score? That's kind of how it felt. But unfortunately, nothing happens. Nothing happens.
Must have been a Swedish lad on VAR. That must be it.
Good change.
Right. Well, yeah. we'll move on because 3 minutes later, Isak gets to make up for it because Murphy with the ball across, Wilson gets pushed over. Now that should have been a penalty if it was needed, but it wasn't because Isak pounces and then he makes sure of it to take us to 4-0. And of course, Isak gets his goal, taking him to 20. At that point in time, he was one behind Haaland in the race for the Golden Boot, but you can make that 5 now. Thanks, Haaland. Thoughts on Isak's goal? Pete, we'll go to you.
The perfect way to hit back after you miss a penalty. You can imagine he's disappointed. He was obviously going to be chasing that Golden Boot. Great play as well down that right hand side. I think Wilson. I don't think he realizes the defender's as close as he is. He kind of takes a touch forward, and the defender kind of catches him up quite quickly. But Murphy's there to take it on. Another great ball across. Murphy, excellent again, and Isak just composes himself. This is why he is who he is. Someone else would snatch at that and hit it first time, maybe not get great connection on it, but he's got that know-how to just take a touch and then just puts it high into the goal where no player can or goalkeeper can get it. And it's interesting. You made an interesting point about the Wilson Isak situation with the penalty. I noticed certain behaviours during the game. They don't even celebrate together. Not that there's a problem with each other. I think they get on. I think they're probably friends, but when they're on the pitch, obviously they play for the team, but they both want to score goals. Yeah. And look, everybody's had it. Everybody's had it. If you've played football, if you've watched players in the past, like you'll know it. Like they're great teammates, they're great friends, but they just want to be the main man. They both want to be the main man. And if it means they're going to score a hatful of goals for Newcastle United, then let it continue. But no, it was a great finish from Isak, and he deserved it. It's a little bit harsh that Haaland's gone and done what he did yesterday, because I think he's got a great chance of finishing second. I don't think he'll catch Haaland now purely on the back of that goal feast that he had yesterday, but he's just a quality player, Alexander Isak.
Yeah, he sure is. Sure is, but we'll move on because I just want a point in the game where it was a great recovery by Hall, where he did snuff out a chance, a rare chance from Burnley, and he just showed his class. I know we'll probably get to it at the end, but I thought Hall was class yesterday. But sub on 68 minutes, Wilson off, Barnes on, Murphy off, Anderson on. 3 minutes later, Anderson the yellow card. Sub on 75th minute, Longstaff off, J7 on, J7 back, and Isak off, Miggy on, Miggy back as well. 84th minute, Gordon off, Richie on. 2 minutes later, Matt Ritchie, a bit of a fuck up with a back pass, a bit heavy-footed. Maybe those heavy goods vehicles were to blame for that heavy foot he has there. But bad back pass. Dubravka wasn't having any of it. Is that he's kind of dumb at the moment? I said in our chat as well. But resulting corner led to. Led to the. I don't know. I don't even have it wrote down here, but it led to the goal for Burnley, and it was 4-1. Our clean sheet was gone. But thoughts on that whole incident there, Pete? We go to you.
Yeah, I'm frustrated at that. I'm frustrated because the team deserved to get a clean sheet yesterday. They didn't deserve to concede a goal. Even at that moment where Richie plays that ball back, he doesn't need to play it back. He's under really no real pressure, not pressure in which it's going to affect us conceding a goal. Sometimes we do that. We just overplay. We just use the goalkeeper for goalkeeper's sake. He knew. He put his hand up straight away. He apologised. He knew he shouldn't have done it. And it's cost us. It's cost us a clean sheet. We deserved it. Martin Dubravka had, apart from that early save within a few minutes in the first half, he's really had nothing to do. He's not had anything to do, and for him to having to pick the ball out of the net, I think is really harsh. But yeah, decent goal from them. Adam talked about O'Shea being the only one that really creates or scores a goal for Burnley when he talked about it on away days, and it is a good header into the far corner. Fair play to him, but we shouldn't have conceded that goal. You could see all the players were really disappointed with it. Richie had hands on head when the ball hits the net, like they know. But look, we're going in the right direction. We're being a lot more difficult to beat, which could only be a positive. And Dubravka would have been frustrated with that because he's now got the number one goalkeeper behind him. A clean sheet actually looks better for him rather than conceding goals, because that just gives Newcastle the emphasis to put Pope back into the team if we concede any more goals. He's up for it now. Pope is going to want to be playing before the end of the season.
Cool. Cheers, Pete. Chris, your thoughts on the Burnley goal?
Yeah, it was just disappointing, really. And do you know what? Unlike the Paul Dummett giveaway of the penalty, I actually felt really sorry for Richie, because it was just a misplaced pass. And obviously you saw it felt like he was apologizing for about 10 minutes. He kept turning around and he was just going, I'm really sorry. And do you know why as well? I think that I felt so bad on Richie is because he is the ultimate professional. When he comes on the pitch, he gives his all. He's always encouraging, the other boys around him. And I think he would have been disappointed in himself. And you could see at the corner, he felt nervous because he's thinking, please don't score. But I must say, and I think I said this to you boys as well, it was a fantastic header from O'Shea. And we were warned about this from Adam, weren't we, Pete? We were warned that O'Shea likes an assist. Well, O'Shea likes a goal as well. It was a really, really good header. And to kind of tell you all how good I thought the header was, the fact that Dan Burn sniffs out the trouble, which was really impressive as well. The ball loops over the box. When you watch the replay, the ball comes into the box. I forget who took the corner for Burnley. And Dan Burn clearly sees, this could be a problem. And he actually goes back towards the goal line, to try and defend it. Now, bearing in mind, Dan Burn's 6'6", 6'7". The ball goes over Dan Burn's head. So it shows you how much of a good header it was from O'Shea. But yeah, I just thought it was a shame for the boys. It was a shame that, they couldn't keep that clean sheet. However, I don't want it to detract away from the performance, and I don't want to bash Matt Ritchie for it, because you can see how awful he felt about it. It's just a shame, that we didn't keep that clean sheet. But also, I'm very, very happy for all the people out there who backed Newcastle to win and both teams to score. So maybe Matt Ritchie's done some people out there a favour. So I thought that was good.
I hope Tonali hasn't influenced him in the old gambling side of things. But like you are right, and we can't really hold it against Richie, but because he did look to make up for it. He had a chance, but there was a back heel from Barnes, and his shot was saved.
He should have hit that harder, mate. He must have been watching Bruno doing his shooting, because he hits it with his side foot, and Richie normally lashes it. The only thing I think as to why he hit it with his side foot was maybe because of it was in his mind what he'd done a few minutes before at the other end of the pitch, but also it was on his right foot. If that was on his left foot, that was getting thunder bastard into the net, 1,000,000%. So yeah, that was a shame, that, because I thought he's going to score. He's going to score, and normally Matt Ritchie buries them. He buries ones like that, but he never. So yeah, it was disappointing.
The good news for Burnley, they still have corner flags, so hoping that didn't go in, but that's not too. But yeah, there was a chance for Tino, chance for Barnes as well, but that took us to full time 4-1, and we'll take that 4-1. We'll take that in a way win. That leaves us with 3 games left in the season in Brighton, Man United, and Brentford. Morning, Keith Rowell as well, up wide awake. Yeah, if you're just joining the chat, make sure you smash that like button as well. Let's look at the table, lads. Let's go to that. And we're also going to have a members draw coming up as well. So stay tuned for that too. Actually, before I go to the table, I want to show the team picture. We'll go there first. Team a bit blurry, but that's the team, the obligatory team photo after we get our win. See Alex Murphy there in the front. He didn't get any game time today, even though we thought he might even get a run out from the start. But great to see another one of these photos. Bring them on. Bring on 3 more.
Love them.
And you know what? Before I go to the table as well, I'm going to go to focus in on Hall and his performance because Chris, I think you wanted to say something about Hall.
Yeah, I thought week on week, the more that Lewis Hall starts, I think we're starting to see the best of him. You probably remember me, boys, a couple of weeks ago saying that defensively, I thought he looked a little bit suspect. However, he put that to bed for me yesterday. And obviously, I'm not suggesting that he can't defend or he's not a good defender because obviously he's not been put at left back for no reason. I'm sure that he is capable. I just felt that he looked nervous for me. Going forward, fantastic, but defensively, I questioned him a little bit. But you brought it up, Daz, when he made that really important interception, to kind of break the attack down, and then it was what he did following that as well. He breaks the possession, breaks up the attack, gets back in possession, and then he just plays a really calm, simple ball out. And I thought that's showing his maturity. Do you know what I mean? And I think the more minutes that Lewis Hall plays in this team, the better. Because some people have questioned them, including myself, saying that have we spent 30 million or 28 million on someone who maybe isn't the future? Do we need a left back this coming season? And now, I mean, I'd probably be interested to hear your boys' thoughts on it. But the more I'm seeing of him, the more confidence he's getting, the more minutes he's playing. He's looking like he's someone who can kind of make the role his own. That's not to say I don't think we need a left back in the summer. I think we probably do. But maybe we don't need to go and fork out, another 30, 40 million on a top left back. Maybe we just need someone to come in, Lloyd Kelly, who can come in and kind of fill in for Lewis Hall. Someone who can be the understudy to Lewis Hall. Because if you remember, boys, rewind a couple of months ago, maybe, we were all going, we need to go. We were talking about Theo Hernandez. We were talking about Phil and Mendy, and we were going, maybe Hall could be the backup to them. But I kind of feel differently about it now. And yes, there's other areas of the pitch that we need to focus on. We do need a left back in because I know we've got about 87 left backs and we need to get rid of them all. But Lewis Hall is really filling me with confidence now, and the fact that Eddie Howe's trusting him as well. He's took a bit of time to adapt, but it feels like he's getting there. And like I say, the more minutes he plays, the more accustomed he seems to be becoming. Because yesterday, I thought he was brilliant.
Interesting there, your comments on the transfer market, because I think it's going to be hard to offload Matt Targett and his wages. So maybe that's what we're going to go with, and not go down the left back route at all. Pete, your thoughts on Hall? Anthony, you want to say on Hall?
Yeah, I was going to probably. I think it's only really fair to talk about both fullbacks because I thought both of them were equally sensational yesterday, and I think it's really, really important to kind of to talk about them sort of equally because I thought that equally they were both very, very good. So I'll drop the tactics board up. This is kind of the positions that we started with. It was that traditional 4-4-2, but for me. People talk about the fullbacks and their ability to defend. Livramento, that goes without saying because he's already proven that this season. Lewis Hall has had to work on it, and someone put it in the chat, and I think it's a valid point. Is that there was a reason why Lewis Hall wasn't playing earlier on in the season when people were questioning Eddie Howe and saying why isn't he going in the team, why isn't he getting minutes? everybody's asked the question, well, there's a reason for it, because Eddie Howe is working with these players, and Eddie Howe will know when these players are ready to be playing first team football. He's kind of maybe been thrust into it a little bit due to injuries and various other things, but he clearly seems ready now to play first team football. And the key thing for me, and the key thing for why we've kind of turned around, is the transitions. And so they're both capable of defending. Okay, they can both defend. They've got pace, they can put a tackle in, but it's what they do with the ball in these areas. The amount of times, and I'll just get a ball on here just because it's easier. The amount of times that you see that ball getting whipped down into these wide areas or whipped into these little areas for Gordon to run onto. He anticipates these balls now, so he's making these runs on the edge of defenders, and actually Gordon's getting so much more success with that. Livramento the same, whether it's whoever's on the right hand side, whether it's Gordon, whether it's Murphy, his ability to find a player with the ball is so different, and it helps us with our attacking transitions so much better, because now our starting positions for our fullbacks are here rather than here. And Burn used to tuck in last season as a third centre back here, and we literally just depended on whoever was our left winger last season to just do the job and get back and forth. It's different now. The starting positions are here, and the one thing I always maintain is attack is the best form of defense. And if you're starting positions here and you're good with using the ball into these areas and these areas, all you're doing there is pushing the fullback for the opposition team further back all the time. And this is exactly what happened. And I'll just put anyone there. I think Vitinha was there, and I can't remember. I think these were the two fullbacks. These guys, and Adam mentioned it, are known in a company system to want to get here, but you very rarely found them in this position. You did with him early on, but as the game went on, he got further and further back, and he was drawn back. Why? It's because our starting positions for our fullbacks were here, and they were like, if you want to get past us, you have to get the ball off us, and then you're going to have to beat him and him for pace, which is not easy. And so our starting position here just pushes everybody else forward. And if you've got that many players in attacking areas, you're going to cause problems. And this is the reason why we scored 4, probably could have scored 6 or 7. But it's not just the fact that they're starting positions here, it's how good these two boys are on the ball. His delivery is superb. We already talked about it before. The crossfield pass into here for Longstaff's goal. The amount of times he was putting balls into this area here. The amount of times he even arrives into this area, deep into their half. Like with Burn, for as much as he got forward, his use of a football is nowhere near as good as Lewis Hall. And that is the key. The key is his footballing ability trumps everything else. Trumps his defensive ability, trumps his height, which is what Burn has been used for in those positions. It trumps everything. Because if you're a good footballer and you know how to play football in these areas, you are going to cause problems for most teams. And that's the bit that I've been really impressed with, is that Lewis Hall and Tino Livramento in these areas are causing massive problems. Tino Livramento making runs into this area here with the ball and starting attacks off. Like, when have we had that? Like, we have Trippier that's good using the ball with Miggy down here in this little pocket of area, but not making darting runs into the middle or darting runs here to create problems. Like, he's a different type of fullback, and Lewis Hall is very much of the same mold. And this is why I tweeted out at the end of I think it was on Monday, and I put a picture of Livramento and Hall there, and I said they are the future. I got it wrong. They're not the future. They're the now. These boys are the now. Like, these are the guys that we need to be working with as our first choice fullbacks moving forward. If Lloyd Kelly comes in, great. We're going to need extra players for a European campaign, fingers crossed. And so there's the opportunity there to switch players around. And if anybody's watched Lloyd Kelly can do a very similar role to what Lewis Hall is. He is exactly the same mold. And that tells me what Eddie Howe is planning on doing with this team. He's making us far better in possession, far better attacking threat. We are only third to Man City and Arsenal in goals scored in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And we're 6th in the table. And Eddie Howe is saying, I want more. I want more. I want more goals from this team. People, we better be excited, because I tell you what, we're bringing attacking football back to the Premier League next season, guaranteed.
And we're going to be third, will be a minimum next season. Right, let's move on. But there's another thing just on the game before we go to the table is this man, 10 and 10. 10 assists, 10 goals. I think, Pete, you were touching on it there during the week, so he's reached it. So fair play to Gordon, 10 and 10. Right, let's get the table up and talk about where we're sitting. We know we're in 6th, but let's get to it here. Right. So 6th spot after 35 games on 56 points. Spurs sitting in 5th, who play Liverpool today on 34 games on 60, going through a bad run. Man United, who play Crystal Palace on Monday, on 34 games on 54 points. So maybe go on the Eagles. Maybe they can do us a favour on Monday evening. And Chelsea, who are on a good run of form as well. Good enough run of form. 34 games and 51 points. So they are ones to watch as well. Also, big game today is Chelsea against West Ham. So keep an eye on that one today at 2.
What you got for me, Lawless? What you got for me? Come on. Go and get yourself a point, maybe 3, lad. Come on, Lawless. Brothers in arms. Ex-Newcastle United. Come on.
Ex-Newcastle the Jamaican Geordie, the original before Geordie Dredd. Right. So yeah, that game's today. This is Chelsea's games now. Then they play Forest, they play Brighton, and they play Bournemouth, last game of the season. So not a bad run in for Chelsea, really. So let's see how that one goes today. Our own run in, as we know, and as we said, it's Brighton up next, then Man United, then Brentford last day of the season. I'm going to touch on Spurs. I don't think because 5th spot is still mathematically possible, but like Liverpool might win today, hopefully, in this one. But you imagine they'll beat Burnley. They'll probably lose the City, and they'll probably beat Sheffield United. So that'll be them at getting at least 6 points, you imagine. So that would put, for me, it puts us then clear. We can't, well, mathematically can't catch them then, because they'd be 66. We've only nine points left to play for. So, but thoughts on the table, lads?
Go on, Chris.
I feel like we're in a strong position, boys. Not gonna lie. I'm feeling confident now going into these last 3 games. I mean, to get our, I mean, I know we've said this a few times, haven't we? But to have put ourselves in this position with the season that we've had, the injuries we've had, obviously what's happened with Sandro Tonali, I think it's absolutely fantastic. And I tell you what, Spurs now must be panicking a bit, because they've got Liverpool today, and if Liverpool go and beat them at Anfield, Spurs are 4 points away from Spurs, and it's absolutely bizarre. You know, for us to even finish 6th, if you'd have said this to me probably January, February time, I'd have gone, nah, we're not finishing 6th. It's not going to happen. And the opportunity does. I know you keep talking about it of us finishing above Man United. You know, it's absolutely huge, and it just gives us a little bit of confidence, doesn't it, going into next season? Because if we finish this season strongly, as it looks like we're going to, and hopefully we can, especially with the players we've got coming back, it's absolutely brilliant for us. Keith Roll, big part of the channel. He's put a couple of messages in the chat, so maybe we can discuss this after we've gone to yourself and Pete Daz. He's kindly put in the fixtures just on like little tweets, if you like, or little messages.
Two beside each of them.
I don't know. Do you know what? Let's have a quick look how he's done it. But it's a question really. It's how many points do you think? You know, how many points do you think each team will pick up? But that's the first one that's on the screen there. So Keith said, Man United vs Palace away, and then Man United have got Palace away, then they've got Arsenal at home, Newcastle at home, and Brighton away. How many more points do you think Man United will pick up? And then he's also asked the same about Chelsea, who have got Obviously, West Ham at home today, Forest away, Brighton away, and Bournemouth at home. How many points do you think they'll pick up? So that's a conversation that we can have shortly. But I think we're in a fantastic position. I think we're in pole position. And as I say, if we finish 6th this season, I think we've done incredibly well. And it only gives me positive thoughts going into the 24-25 season, where I think we're going to have a really, really positive season, particularly when you look round at the other clubs who are slightly below us and above us. They've got their own issues. And I think we're only going to get stronger and we're only going to get better. And with a couple of signings, 2, 3, 4 in the summer, and a few outgoings, I think we could be serious. I'm not going to say contenders. I don't want to do a lawless. I think we could be serious challengers in the conversation, particularly for the top 4 spots.
Cool. Pete, your thoughts on the table for Newcastle?
Yeah, one big step closer to European football. I've got a sneaky feeling that Palace are going to take something from Man United. The big question I have, and for people in the chat, is what do you want from Stamford Bridge today? What type of result do you want? Do you want West Ham to win, which will take them to 52? Albeit they've only got 2 games left, but then West Ham have got Luton at home next, which you'd expect them to win, which will take them a little bit closer, take them to 55, still a point behind. But then they have Man City last game of the season, which you would expect that they get beat. You've then got Chelsea. If they win, obviously they're really close to us, but it then automatically ends West Ham's opportunities of fighting for or to finish above us.
Good question.
A draw. Is that the best result for both? I don't know. In my mind, I'm kind of thinking a draw. Even though they both gain a point, they both lose the maximum. Because at this moment in time, Chelsea's maximum that they can get is 63 points. Okay? 63 points. I think it's 60. I can't remember how much it is for West Ham. I think there's a couple less than them. So I think, it must be like 61 points for West Ham that they can get as a maximum. So we're at this point now, I'm looking at Chelsea, I'm looking at West Ham, and I'm looking at their maximums lowering every time they drop points.
So West Ham, Pete, looking at the fixtures there, West Ham, I'm assuming their max points must be 58. Must be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because they've got a game left. That's right. Yeah. So we're 2 points beyond, with a superior goal difference. We're 2 points away from maxing that out. If they get a point today, that's it. Like it's done.
You want West Ham to win today because that's the best scenario for us, because they're not going to beat Man City, even though it's the last game of the season. The league could potentially be over by then. But so you want, and we're going to pick up points between now and then as well. So the safest option is for West Ham to win.
Yeah, and let's not forget, you're looking at Man United's fixtures. If they drop points. It's either today or tomorrow, I can't remember when they go to Selhurst Park. If they drop points against Palace, their next game is Arsenal next weekend. And so you're looking at it. If they drop points, so we're 2 points ahead of them now. If they take a point at Selhurst Park, we're a point ahead of them. We go into the Brighton game. We play against Brighton before them. Because we play on the Saturday, 3:00. They play on the Sunday against Arsenal. We could potentially be 4 points clear ahead of Man United before that game at Old Trafford. Yeah. And so all we're looking for is a point. I'm looking at scenarios here. We could be going into Old Trafford potentially, because we've done the hard part. We've gone to Turf Moor, we've won. They've got to go and do it against the resurgent Palace team. Right, who are playing well at the moment. We know we suffered on the back of that. If they don't get 3 points at Palace, they've then got to go and win against Arsenal, which is one of the hardest things you can do at the moment because they're on absolute fire. Yeah. If we go into that game at Old Trafford against Man United, 4 points clear, and we go we go and beat Brighton. For me, we're finishing 6th. We'll finish in 6th because the way we're going at the moment with our players back, I don't see us losing at Old Trafford. I just don't. I don't see.
And that's the message, Pete. Just don't get beat. As I said it a few weeks ago. Just don't get beat. We go to Old Trafford and we don't get beat. The 6 is ours, mate. It really is.
I'm going to answer Keith Roll's question for Man United here. I think Palace win this because Palace are doing really well. I think Arsenal win this. I think we win this. They might get the win against Brighton because Brighton have really tailed off. But I'm all, in turn, I'm also a bit wary of us playing Brighton because we never seem to turn up against Brighton. But we're at home, so we should. And they're getting the dip in form. So, but I think Man United are going to struggle in the next 3 games.
Do you know what I think's a key thing for me anyway? I look at the mentality of the Man United players. Now, obviously, we're in a position, aren't we, as fans, but also as players. The fact that our dressing room are going to be like, on the resurgence, going like, come on, the boys are back now. We need to try and finish as high up this table as we possibly can. We want top 6. Can we catch Tottenham? All of that. And obviously, all of this squad are behind Eddie Howe. And going into the new season, it's going to be with Eddie Howe. Looking at Man United, are their players going to be in the dressing room going, come on, we need top 6? Bearing in mind, I don't think the Man United players see it like that because they will see this season as a failure. Are the Man United players all fully behind Erik ten Hag? I would argue they're probably not. The fan base, they're clearly disillusioned. They're worried about the coming season. Who's gonna stay, who's coming in, etc. They're just in different places to us. And I look at the likes of your Rashfords, your Casemiros, your Varans. Is their head really in it? Are they really up for this battle? And Dad, you hit the nail on the head before. I think in years gone by, you would look at this Palace Man United game and you go, oh yeah, Man United win. I genuinely would be surprised if Crystal Palace don't go into that game tomorrow as favourites. And if they don't, I think the bookies have called it completely wrong. Because for me, Palace should be the overwhelming favourites, given their recent form, and also given the fact that Man United are clearly all over the place. Pete, you often refer to them as Moments FC, and they've got the players to do that. But the longer that this form goes on and the longer that they continue to play the way that they are, you won't be able to call them Moments FC because all of their Moments players will no longer be there, because they won't want to be part of this team. And that's all it takes, a little bit of that, fairy dust that gets removed. Man United can all of a sudden drop like a brick. So for me, I feel like we're the favourites for top 4. Top 4. We're the favourites for the 6th position, the top 6 position. And Man United have got it all to do. If I was a Man United fan now, I'd be worried, thinking, we're not getting 6th now because I just think that the form that we're in, the players that are coming back, I think we're gonna have too much for them. And Daz, you've already said that you think we should win at Old Trafford. I mean, for me, I just don't want to get beat. But a one-off game, 90 minutes, who would be the favourites? Again, you'd think it'd be us. And this is where Man United are. This is the position they're in.
If I didn't think we could win at Old Trafford, I wouldn't have been saying we should be doing a watch along for that show, for that game, because that's how confident I am at the moment. Now the Scar injury did throw a bit of doubt into my head in this run-in, but go for it.
No, we can win at Old Trafford. We absolutely can. You talk about Kraft and Burn being makeshift. They've only got one centre-back at the moment. They've only got Harry Maguire. They're playing Casemiro at the back. He's playing centre-back because they haven't got any defenders either. So we're in the same situation. Like we're makeshift, but it goes back to the point that Man United are Moments FC. They've got individual players. As much as we hammer them, they've got individual players that have cost a hell of a lot of money that get them out of the rubbish every time. And this is just what it is. Like Bruno Fernandes gets them out of the rubbish against Sheffield United. Sheffield United are the better team, looking like they're going to win the game. They've got their players that make the difference, that end up winning them games and getting them points. They're like I say, all of their players are just kind of all over the place. Scott McTominay's out for the rest of the season. Yeah, N9 and he said Martinez is back in training, but how long is he going to get back up to fitness? He's been out like 5 months. We know that from our own players. Evans, I want Evans to play. Evans, bring it on. Evans against Isak, bring it on. Like I'm more than happy with that. But I think we can win there. I think we deserve to win there for what we've done this season. Let's be honest. It was only 2 months ago. We never ever thought that we should be or could be in a position for finishing 6th. We're now, as Chris mentioned, 4 points behind Tottenham, who were fighting for Champions League not long ago. Let's not forget what we've done. And actually, I think it's a perfect timing, because I know we're about to move on to something else. It's a perfect timing to say, you know what, Eddie Howe, you've done a bloody good job this season. You know what? He's got stick in January. People calling for his head. We have people in the chat, not necessarily in here now, but people coming into our chat and shows Eddie Howe out, get him out, not good enough. Eddie Howe has navigated us through this position into what we are doing right now, right? And talking about the setup, I'm not going to put it up again, that 4-4-2 transitioned into a fluid 4-3-2-1 at times. And I'm not going to talk about it, but the way in which he's navigated the evolution of this side, the formation, the way we played, he has to take massive credit for that. And you know what? People in the media are just starting to mention his name and go, you know what? If they get 6th or if they get European football, Eddie Howe's done a bloody good job. And he has. Fair play to him.
They were talking about England as well, him being in the mix as well again. But look, that's for another day. We don't want him. We don't want anywhere near England. We want to keep Eddie Howe with us. But we've got to move on, lads, because we've got to get some questions to get through as well. But before that, let us do a prize giveaway for our loaded ultras. So, and if you are not a member, I'll get the wheel ready first. But if you are not a member, our loaded ultra member, you can be one. If you click that join button. That join button there will cost you $1.99 a month, and you can be a loaded ultra also, and you get into the draw like this one. But Chris, what are you going to give away for this time?
Yes, so I was on and ahhing as to what to give away, and we wanted to try and give away different prizes as possible, so that there's an opportunity for everyone to kind of experience all the different stuff that is available on the Manscaped website. So we've picked 3 prizes this week, and we're going to start off with the steady, the safe Buff Bundle. So the Buff Bundle has everything you need to take your shower routine to the next level. It's designed to maximize the lather of our body wash. You'll step out of the bathroom with a full body clean, feeling rejuvenated and confident. The Body Buffer this kit will include the Body Buffer silicone scrubber and 2 475ml bottles of refined body wash. So the first prize, Daz, is the Buff Bundle, and it's a full body shower kit.
And if Chris's little note there on the prize has piqued your interest, you can also go to manscaped.com and use the code LOADED20, and you'll get free shipping and 20% off. What more could you ask for? So best of luck to everyone. And if you've been drawn out in the last few weeks, we're going to spin again. So Chris will remember who has got a prize, who's claimed their prize. So here we go. The first prize here goes to...
Good luck, everybody.
The Mighty Win.
The Mighty Win.
Brilliant. Mighty Win. Congratulations.
Brilliant.
Congratulations, the Mighty Win. Chris, what's our next prize?
Okay. And again, some of you may recognize this one, but it was a particularly nice gift to give away. And prize number 2 is the Body Care Kit. Now, the Body Care Kit, show your body some love with our signature body scrubber and a lineup of premium products formulated with the highest quality ingredients for top-notch skin and hair care. It's a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner with a refined scent, a body wash refined scent, the body scrubber silicone body scrubber, and also the deodorant is included in that. So yeah, that's the Body Care Kit, which is men's hygiene essentials. So that is prize number 2.
Here we go. Best of luck, everyone, again. Stanley Walters. Congratulations, Stanley.
Well done, Stanley. Brilliant.
Great stuff.
Brilliant.
And what's the last prize, Chris?
The last one, right? No one's seen this one come up before, and this is a special prize. This is the big prize number 3, and this is the Handyman, which is a compact face shaver. Okay, so need a touch up away from home. I love that, away from home. Need a touch up away from home following Burnley. Your chiseled jawline won't lose its luster thanks to our dual action foil shaver, the Handyman. Its compact design means you can toss it in your bag for easy grooming on the go. And it's a 4.5-inch razor. It's dual action skin safe blade head, long hair leveler and foil shaver, 60 minutes runtime, 5-minute quick charge option, low battery indicator. It's compact, it's waterproof, it's got a magnetic blade cover, and it's also got a USB-C cable. So the Handyman is basically everything you want. Comes in a small package, but it does the job. So that is prize number 3 this week.
Right. It's prize number 3. And so they don't just do, Manscaped don't just do stuff for wrinkly berries. They cover everything. Nice one.
They do.
Here we go. Best luck again to the Loaded Ultras.
See my name in there. Ooh, fingers crossed.
Yes, our names are in there. Jamie Burton. Congratulations, Jamie. It was just one off Julie there, I see. One off Julie. Yeah. Which would have been interesting.
It's close, Julie. It's close.
Nice one, Jamie. So congratulations to all our winners. Contact us, contact Chris, contact Loaded, any of us, and we will get that sorted for you quick as possible to get it shipped out. Again, Loaded 20 is the code to use on manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. Boys, let's get to some questions. What have you got first?
Well, first of all, just put these comments out here. Massive thanks to people in other parts of the world. Chris Gray over in Sydney. Big up to yourself. Shane, who's regularly in our chat from Australia. Jimmy Watt, good morning. From Vietnam, maybe in Vietnam, maybe not. But
no, Jimmy isn't in Vietnam.
We'll say he's in Vietnam just for the benefit of it. And I think there's a few others as well. Kun Bob from the tropics. Nice to have you. So great to see you all in there as well. Question from Darren. Do you think Champions League football would have been achievable if we didn't have 15 key players out for over 2 months?
Yes.
Million percent. I mean, the fact we've come 6th, potentially, we're on the cusp of coming 6th with the possibility of 5th. And we've had the worst injury list, I think, amongst any of the Premier League teams this season. And you know, you think, boys, if you added Nick Pope back into this squad over the past 3, 4, 5 months, you added Sandro Tonali in, Joe Linton in, you know, we even just looking at the Champions League campaign, we'd have probably been in the Europa League or maybe even the Champions League. I mean, we all know we got robbed in the PSG game, but we won't go into that. We'd have been higher up this table. If you look at the league table, we're not actually that far off, you know, the likes of Villa. We'd have been in that would we have been in the league title race? Probably not. But we'd have certainly been in that top 4 race with Villa and Tottenham, 1,000,000%.
Yeah, definitely said it for weeks. But I'll go on better. We will be fighting for 4th place next season.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
Said it for weeks. Said for weeks. This team should have been in the Champions League this season. We will be in one next season. Absolutely 100%. And we'll be, I think we will be one of the front runners for top 4. Villa, Tottenham will be in that conversation. Maybe Chelsea. We will definitely be in it.
Could even be back to a top 5 again, depending on how the English teams get on.
Even better. Interestingly, Alan has changed his points total. Remember his points total? What was it? 45 points. It was not long ago, maximum. Now he's gone. He's gone full throttle. He's saying we get maximum points. We win the rest of our games this season. He's going maximum 65 points. That's what he's doing. As my
a bit of faith. Nice one, Alan.
And I'm sure Alan, more than anyone, Alan would have been really happy to be wrong in this situation. I think Alan's happy. Alan's happy about it.
Of course he is, definitely. Jules put, we played like prime Barcelona yesterday. How are the lads? And he said it felt that good. He even wrote it twice. So I'll put it back on there. But fair play. Let's get to an actual question. There's a few here. Jimmy Watt put, rumours Man United want around 50 million for any sale of Jadon Sancho. Would you take him? Just means negotiations with Man United. Boys.
Now, you were raving about Jadon Sancho, Pete, in the Champions League. I didn't see it. My satellite was off, so I'm getting that fixed. So, I didn't get to see that game. But you got to see how is he getting on at Dortmund?
He's slow burner. Like it's the classic situation with Chelsea players. It's almost like going to Man United. Your quality is almost coached out of you because of the team that you're at, and it's almost like he's gone back to Dortmund. He's gone back to his basics where he made his name, and he's kind of like slowly but surely gained his confidence back, and now he's getting better and better, and it accumulated to the performance he had against PSG. He was sensational, man of the match, best player on the pitch for me. He was just like, he's not the fastest, but he's got such an intelligent football brain. He's so good with the ball at his feet. He manipulates the ball so well. And he was the assist king at Dortmund before he went to Man United. He was the absolute assist king. In our formation, he genuinely would get assist after him and Isak, him and Wilson. Madness. Look, I'll put it out there. I thought we should be in the conversation. Of course we should. But the sticking block will be the 300 grand a week, of course. That's the big stick.
Jog on.
Yeah. But no, look, I think we're the type of team that if any player like that became available at that price, that we'd be well within that conversation. But again, it's wages and all the rest of it, in my opinion. Right, let's move on. There's a few other questions on here. Right. If Eddie keeps Wilson and Isak, do you think we still need another striker? Or do you think we'll get a CAM like Morgan's Gibbs White instead? Good question from Jimmy again. Good question.
That is a good question. I still think Wilson's going to go in the summer. Even though it's all great now, it's all rosy, but then he breaks down again and it's just back to where we were. I think now's the time to he's not a bad purchase for someone else. So while he still is, we get a bit of value in selling him. I know Eddie Howe is right. We're going to have to spend a lot to bring in a replacement, but I would look to bring in a younger replacement this summer. But I like this idea. If we keep him, that we have a number 10 kind of a player coming in and then can fill in if needs be. So I like the idea too, Jimmy.
Charles puts a similar question as well, Chris, for you to answer. If we are going to keep playing them in the same team, do we need another striker? What are your thoughts?
I think regardless of whether we keep playing them together or not, I think we need another striker in the summer. For me now, I've been toying with this idea that I think it's a different approach depending on the outcome of what happens with Callum Wilson. Like I agree with Daz. You know, like if we hear on Wednesday say, "Oh, Callum Wilson's going to be out for the weekend. He's done something," we're all going to go, "Oh, bloody hell, not again!" Blah blah blah. because there's no doubting Callum Wilson's talent. There's no doubting it. Like when he's on the pitch, he's absolutely brilliant, as we saw yesterday and the previous game. You know, when he's on the pitch, and the goals speak for themselves. 2.5 years, and he's got 47 goals. Says its own thing. But for me, if I was Eddie Howe, this is what I would do as of right now. I would keep Callum Wilson. And if we were to keep Callum Wilson, that would be on the proviso that we can raise funds elsewhere. So whether that's a Miggy Almiron, a Matt Target, and Sean Longstaff, whatever it may be, in order to get the funds, in order for us to spend elsewhere in the squad, I would keep Callum Wilson. If that's not possible, or if an offer comes in, I would say of 20 million or above, I would then consider selling Callum Wilson. I don't want to lose Callum Wilson, but I think the approach should be, regardless of what happens, we need a third striker. Now, if Callum Wilson goes, we obviously need a backup striker to Isak. That's going to cost a lot of money, and you need to bring in a player who's going to stay fit, etc. If we are to keep Callum Wilson, I still believe we need that third striker, but it would be a development striker. It would be a youngster to come in who can learn the ropes from Callum Wilson and Alexander Isak, and who doesn't command a starting 11 position. Regardless, I want to go into the new season with 3 strikers, end of. If it is only 2, it will have to be Alexander Isak and a top striker to replace Callum Wilson, who's going to stay fit. I know Anthony Gordon can be the third striker option. I know Jimmy mentioned, the fact of bringing in Morgan Gibbs-White. For me, I'd have both of them. I'd want an attacking midfielder, a number 8, number 10, whatever you want to call them, and I'd be going for the striker. We've spoken about before, boys, haven't we, about having that hybrid player. A player who can play as a striker, but also on either wing. I don't think he's going to bring in a traditional number 9 who can only play through the middle. We're not going to see another Chris Wood signing. It's not going to happen. It's going to be a player who can play in multiple positions. Yeah.
So, keyword ruthless as well. This summer we have to be ruthless. But let's see how it plays out. There's multiple permutations.
Yeah, JC mentions it as well. He talks about that cover for Isak and Wilson if he does get injured. He mentions a Carlton Morris from Luton type. He's had a good season at Luton. Probably wouldn't take him personally. It's probably being a little bit like snobbish and looking maybe beyond him. But I think Carl comes up with a great suggestion who we've talked about before. Sergio Guirassy from Stuttgart. He had obviously the 17 million buyout in his release clause. Still scoring goals for Stuttgart, playing really, really well. And actually, he's 25 or 28 goals this season. He's 28 years old, but he's a proper forward striker, very similar to Wilson. So if what you say, Daz, is correct and we get the money. One thing I don't like about this, Callum Wilson's going to leave. People are rating him around £10 million. You're having an absolute laugh. The guy's just got double figures again, and he's barely kicked a ball this season. He's got 10 goals this season. Like that is a hot commodity. Like you don't get players like that. I don't care whether he's 32. I don't care whether he's 22. That guy is worth the money that we paid for him. We paid £20 million from Bournemouth. We can get £20 million for Callum Wilson again. There's no doubt about it.
There's another
strikers out there. Sorry, Daz.
There's another point. Did I hear something that the squads for the Euros has gone from 23 to 26? So Wilson is potentially coming into form and good at the right time. That if he goes to Euros, him and injuries as well, it'll add to the chances of him picking up on injuries. Again, it's just the whole.
But it could also add to his value because if he goes to Euros and comes on off the bench and scores a goal or helps even England to win, if he's got a winner's medal around his neck, regardless of how many minutes he plays, his value goes up. People's values, or that whole squad of 26, their value goes up because they've won a European Championship. I'm not saying we are going to win it. I hope we do, but all he has to do is have a few minutes and making an impact as an England player, and his value goes up. It can work both ways. Because he's not going to play every game because Kane's going to start. You
made a great point, Pete. I mean, some people would say his age works against him, but in many ways, for the buying club, his age probably works in their favour. I mean, if I look at the likes of West Ham, the likes of Everton, the likes of Wolves, they all need strikers. They need a striker who's going to come in and be that goal getter. And if you keep Callum Wilson fit, he's a fantastic option. And because of his age, because he's 32, if you're picking up a striker for 20 million, you're guaranteeing, well, let's say he does 2.5 years somewhere else, 47 goals. What would 47 goals do for Everton? What would it do for West Ham? What would it do for Wolves?
Yeah.
It's huge. And all right, there's no resale value. And okay, you might only play till he's 34, possibly 35. But what are those goals going to do for them in the interim? Because if they go out and buy a 24-year-old striker who's of a similar quality, it's 80 million plus. Because that's what he is. If Callum Wilson was, 5, 6, 7, 8 years younger now than what he is, he wouldn't be worth 20 million. The fact that we got him for 20 million in the first place was ridiculous. And we capitalised on a moment where we could get him from Bournemouth for such a good price. But I think you mentioned it actually the other day, Pete. You said that if you're having a conversation about the top 10 strikers in the Premier League, Callum Wilson's name's in there. Top 10 striker in the Premier League. He's definitely midway. I'd say he's number 5, number 6, number 7 in that conversation. And if you're getting him for £20 million and you're guaranteeing goals, it's the difference between a Wolves finishing either 10th or possibly 7th. It's the difference between Everton finishing 16th or possibly 10th. Those goals make a huge difference.
I take our striker pairings above most in the Premier League. You look in the Premier League and you look at a pair of strikers in any team. You look at Man United, for example. They've got Højlund and they've got who else? Maybe Rashford that plays up front on the odd occasion. I'm taking ours over them. You look at West Ham, got an exciting front three, but their striker's Mikel Antonio. I'm taking us above them all day, every day. You look at, you can even go to Tottenham. You look at Son and Richarlison. I'm taking Isak and Callum Wilson. You look at Villa. They've got Dujan and Ollie Watkins. I'm taking ours. I just am like across all of your teams, those top teams. Apart from when you get to like Haaland and Alvarez, is maybe a conversation there, like in terms of preference. And that's where it gets into difficult waters. But you go through the whole of the Premier League, you put Callum Wilson and Isak as two individual strikers against any other as a pair, you're picking them. You are.
Yeah. You wonder, don't you? I mean, I just mentioned them, Pete, Arsenal. So Arsenal have got Jesus and Havertz. That's basically their number 9 options. You put a fully fit Callum Wilson in that Arsenal team this season, are Arsenal winning the league? Yeah. You could argue that Arsenal could comfortably be winning the league, in my opinion, because a fully fit Callum Wilson playing in that number 9 position for Arsenal, for example, it's been said. I mean, I'm not playing down the achievements of Havertz this season. Like, I think Havertz, particularly the back end of the season, he's done really well. But if they had a proper number 9 up front who held the line well and scored the goals, Callum Wilson would get 15 goals in that Arsenal team plus. Easy.
Yeah. Even talk Liverpool. Conor Fraser just put even Liverpool with that knacker of a striker. I think he's referring to Nunes. Like, I'm taking Isak over Nunes all day, every day. And
Nunes and Gakpo.
Fully fit.
Yeah, exactly. Most honest Liverpool fans would say exactly the same. Look.
Massive conversation for the summer ahead. I think there'll be a few battles over this one.
Definitely. Right. I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna ask 2 more questions. Put 2 more questions your way. A controversial one from Tony. Controversial, possibly. But would anyone else take 40 million we paid for Barnes in the summer? I just think we have to sacrifice our player of the season in Gordon to right wing to accommodate Barnes. Thoughts on that?
I like Barnes, but if you offered me 40 million to replace him with another option in another position, I'd consider it. But I think he's an awful lot to offer, and I think he's going to be massive for us next season. It's great to have even now to have him on an option on the bench when we need it. Those little 1-2s and then the perfect placement of his shot into the back of the net. He is quality for us. It was just unfortunate the way it worked out for him. But I'd consider it. Yeah.
you know what? I think that's a really, really, really good question from Tony.
It is.
Because I'm not here to, slag Barnes off. I mean, Barnes' Newcastle career probably hasn't gone how the club had hoped, or Barnes himself. But that's not to say he's a good player. He's not a good player. I mean, we saw it firsthand, boys, didn't we, with that West Ham game? Yeah. Barnes won us that game. Simple as. And Pete was screaming. Pete was screaming from the stands saying, that's what 38 million buys. That's what 38 million. Yeah. And he's right. He's absolutely right. Now, the interesting thing about that question is, I mean, obviously it's hypothetical. If somebody came in with 40 million for Barnes, I think the club would listen. And the only reason being is because of the financial fair play. If there was no financial fair play, I don't think we would sell him. I don't think we'd sell him. But I think because if you can raise 40 million like that, let's be honest, Barnes isn't he's not one of the jewels in the crown. He's not one of the Stella. He's not your Bruno, your Isak, your Gordon, your Livramento. He's not one of those players. So I think, but it's a conversation we'll have in the summer, but this is exactly what we were talking about in terms of the squad. In the outside of those 4 players, I'd say nobody's safe, because there's probably other players you could mention where you go, I don't want to lose them. But if someone puts the money down on the table, you're going, if this keeps hold of Bruno, if this keeps hold of Isak, if this keeps hold of Botman, if this keeps hold of Gordon, are you going to take the money? I think you probably will.
That's the situation. Pete, I want you to answer this question.
Yeah, Pete.
No, I think you'd be mad if you don't look at the profit. That it's only 2 million, but if you're going to get your money back, what it means for PSR, I think, being honest, you'd probably take that deal. You just would, because of what it would enable you to be able to do in the market. It would put us in a much stronger position. You could go and get someone for 60 million, for example, a right winger for 60 million. You could go and get yourself a Rafinha or somebody like that and put the money down, a Pedro Neto, and pay the money and go and get him. And you're still getting a top quality player on Barnes's level. But look, I've said it to you boys time and time again. Barnes, with a full preseason, without injury, he's got a great injury record, bar this season. So this season was an anomaly for him. He doesn't very rarely get injured. So therefore, a good preseason, Harvey Barnes in this team. Let's not forget, we're fighting for Europe here. We want to play European football. So we need a bigger squad. We need strength in depth. There's going to be games, if we play European football, whether it's Europa League, whether it's Conference League, he's had experience, I think, in both. He's definitely played the Conference League with Leicester. I think he might have played Europa League as well. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he's got experience in Europe, which nobody's factored in. He knows how to play Thursday nights and navigate himself and play on a weekend as well. So that experience is crucial too. And there'll be times where Barnes will start ahead of Gordon and will give Gordon a rest ahead of the Saturday game or the Sunday game. Like, that's going to be so important for next season. So like looking at just getting rid of a player because they're not starting every week, it's not going to work like that. Barnes and Gordon will play a hell of a lot of football together and individually next season. We need players like him. But if you're going to offer 40 million plus, more than what we paid for him, of course, the club are naturally going to look at that. Like, that's just a genuine thing. But I want Barnes to be successful. I want Barnes to stay. I think he's a fantastic player. Someone put in the chat, I think it was N9 just put, he's a clutch player. He is. He knows how to put the ball in the net. Sorry, Chris.
No, sorry, mate. It was just to add in, and I don't know whether we're subconsciously doing this, so I'm kind of asking you boys this question. I don't know whether we're subconsciously doing this, but do you think the reason that we're so open to this, aside from the PSR, FFP reasons, do you think it's also the fact that we know we're kind of all right in the left wing position, given that we've got Gordon, given that we know that Isak can play on the left, given that we know we've got Elliot Anderson, Joe Linton? Do you think if you said to Eddie Howe now, right, we're going to be exactly where we are right now, but you can rewind and you can swap Harvey Barnes for a really gifted right winger, do you think he'd do it?
Consider it.
For the balance of the squad?
I think if he knows what he knows now, I think he does. I think he changes. And for the reasons why is because regardless of what anybody says, nobody expected Gordon to have the season that he's had.
No.
Nobody expected it to be at the level that he has performed. And I think that's why when they got rid of ASM, they brought Barnes in, because Barnes was seen as more of a sure thing. It was a case of Barnes was going to be the main man and Gordon was going to supplement Barnes and grow and develop. How it turned out, Gordon hit the ground running and then became the number one. And Barnes's injury almost kind of helped that, because there could, even though Gordon started the season really well, there could have been that natural transition, because Barnes never had a pre-season. Barnes gets fit and plays more and then becomes the number one, but it never worked like that. Gordon just kept being the number one because he had to, because there was nobody else, and he's now the number one off the back of that. So I think if he knows that Gordon's going to turn into the player that he is now, I think he does then go and get a right winger. But actually, this way round actually works out perfect, because we're going to get Barnes and Gordon and an elite right winger coming in the summer, and we're golden both ways. We're golden both sides of the pitch. We've already mentioned it. Gordon can play on the right. He can do a job on the right. We've got Murphy that can come in games like yesterday and have moments where, he got 2 assists. Quality. You know what I mean? Good performance again. You've got a player that's happy to be on the bench, but will come on and do a job for the team in Jacob Murphy. Miggy, I think, will move on, and then we'll get that elite right winger. And we are looking at, with Wilson, Isak, potentially one more striker, fingers crossed, we are looking at an absolute stacked attacking
strength team. And depth.
It has to be.
You've never had before.
Boys, before we wrap up, we cannot make the same mistake we made last season. We have to have a squad of players big enough and strong enough to navigate ourselves through 4 competitions. I don't think Newcastle United will make that mistake again. They cannot afford to.
No. If we're in this Europa League and we've got the likes of Jacob Murphy playing, the likes of Harvey Barnes playing, the likes of Wilson playing, I mean, that front three alone, that's a good front three. And then you're vesting your Isaks, your Gordons, your new right winger, you're vesting them for the weekends. Do you know what I mean? It's huge. Huge.
So to back to Tony, big summer ahead, Tony. I know Tony likes a transfer. He talks a lot of stuff about transfers. So big one, hopefully, ahead for us, Tony. Boys, are we going for one more question or are we wrapping up?
A little bit of a fun one to end off from Tomb Review Stato. Alex, hope you're well.
Hey, Alex.
Lads, an important question. Best football book you've read? I need extra reading material for my holiday.
Asking the wrong guy there, Alex.
So Bobby Robson autobiography. That's one I brought on holiday with me.
That's what I was going to say.
An interesting one. Well, I've got a couple. One I've not read actually, but I bought when we were in Newcastle. It's Pete Graves' book. That's an interesting one. I'm going to read that on my holiday this year. But another one, maybe slightly controversial.
Bit of a link in there.
Could well be another prize draw with that one. Let's see how it lands. It could maybe be some tickets available for that event. We'll see
soon.
Next week,
Thursday.
Next Thursday. So let's wait and see. But another controversial book. I really enjoyed reading it. It got me to understand the person a little bit better, which why it doesn't really surprise me he's behaving this way now. And it's Joey Barton's book. I read it a number of years ago. Honestly, I read it a number of years ago. Obviously, it was on a holiday way back when, and it was a really interesting book. Looking at his background, looking at his life, some of the things that have happened within his family. It was a very interesting book, but it makes me understand why kind of he's the way he is now. The stuff that he's doing now, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't.
And Alex, if you don't fancy reading, watch Loaded. There's plenty of great quality on Loaded to keep you entertained along the way. But good to hear from you, mate. And enjoy your holiday.
Enjoy, mate.
That's it. That's it for I was going to say good evening, good night, but that's it for our morning show. This review show. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I guess there's only one thing left to say, apart from goal going. It's, how'd you like that? Good night, everyone. Good morning, good evening, whatever you're having yourself. Good luck.
How you like?